Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I've come to realize, due to a number of events, as well as something that I saw yesterday, which I'll get into shortly, that I really do need to create a playlist and a series of videos discussing male eating disorders in the fitness industry. And it really is a more serious issue than a lot of us are willing to give it credit for. And that includes a lot of experts out there. In fact, I saw one guy do a video on it, a guy who was pretty jacked actually, who has a smaller channel, and I can't remember it now, but he had linked it on my page over a month ago. And at a university, he saw a lecture given by one of the top experts in the world, a PhD in eating disorders, and it was a female. And when he asked her the question, well, what about male eating disorders and male body image disorders particularly? She said, men don't really have body image disorders because if they think they need bigger pecs, they just go to the gym and work out and fix the problem. Which kind of shocks me coming from someone who's a PhD, because that is probably one of the most bigoted, sexist things that she could have said, that men don't have this problem, when I see it every day with my subscribers, with the industry, with people I see online. I see it every day, and it's the guys who are working out the hardest who oftentimes have the worst body image disorders. They get the bigger pecs or they get the six-pack abs, but their self-perception doesn't change. And now part of me, because I see the whole aesthetics movement as really being feminine, and even to the point where I get guys who come over and when they come to my channel go, hey Jason, well, you're fat and out of shape, you shouldn't be giving people advice. And kind of my reply is, well, why are you guys so worried about another man's body fat who doesn't compete in bodybuilding? I mean, did you get a stocking run in your pantyhose, motherfucker? What are you, a girl? You're acting like a little teenage girl. What the fuck is wrong with you? But that's what my reaction is. But then when I step back and go, well, wait a minute, there's more to it than that. This is a serious problem, and it's serious enough to where people have these unrealistic standards, and it goes way beyond the feminization of society, although that is a big factor, the feminization of men and demasculinizing of men. But it's really a serious issue, particularly in our niche in this area, in the fitness world. And it's something I started a little while back, and then I haven't really touched upon it again until I did my Q&As yesterday. And then after I did the Q&As, I saw something, and it was a young man in a private group I post on. And this group is generally dedicated to discussion of performance-enhancing drugs. It's a private group. And he came on and asked the question of, is it okay, since he felt like he really binged on his diet bad today and ate way too many treats and had a bit of a binge, was it okay if he popped 150 micrograms of the Clenbuterol that he had laying around to make up for it? And would it be okay if he did this once or twice a week? And I started checking it, and he's not a big guy. This is not a guy who's big enough that you would expect him to be using drugs at all. I'm not saying he looks bad or anything. The guy was clearly in shape. But this is not what most people's image is of a performance-enhancing drug user, at least people who have been training for a while. And his mindset, and I said, hey, I think you've got an eating disorder, and a bunch of other people chimed in, and he kind of defended it a bit. But the reality is, this is what we're seeing now, this is another example of it. Instead of the laxatives or sticking their finger down their throat, which is historically what females have done, we're seeing a lot of guys now doing exactly this, since they know they've got access to all these cutting drugs and fat-burning drugs and things that we really have easier access to than people care to admit, and that you can't make go away with laws, is that he's just going to pop some Clenbuterol to make up for it. And here's the problem with it. First of all, the amount of Clen that he took is not a beginner's dose. Most people who go start on Clen, because of the strong stimulant effects, the heart racing, the heart palpitations it can give you, most athletes who use it in a cutting phase start on something like 20 or 40 micrograms a day, and they build up over the weeks. They might be using it for 4 or 5 weeks before they hit the kind of dose that he popped at once, so that they build a tolerance up to it. And he just popped that cold without even being on it or having a tolerance built up at the time, and that's actually dangerous. That was actually a risky move, and he's wanting to do this regularly. And the reality is, even a drug like that, it's only going to burn 200, maybe 300 calories at the most over the next 24 hours. It's not going to make up for this binge. But it's the same cycle. It's this person is setting up a binge and purge cycle just like a bulimic, so that he can try to stay leaner and get away with his binges, because he probably has a diet that's too restrictive as it is. It is already unhealthy, and he's developing an unhealthy attachment and relationship with his food. Combined with a body image disorder, he's now setting himself up for a full-fledged eating disorder. And I think that when you're now at the point to where you're popping a handful of Clenbuterol or T3 or any of these other fat-burning drugs as a response to your binge, I think you have an eating disorder. And it's very, very similar to bulimia. And I think we're going to see this end up being a subcategory before long classified, because I am seeing this with young men, and it's really scary, because to pop 150 or 160 micrograms of Clen in one go when you have no tolerance to it, I think that does carry a risk of a heart attack. And if that young man happens to see this video, and I'm sure this video will get linked in the group, I would really urge him to go seek help now. And for anyone who's reached this point to where you have now reached that point to where you've developed that unhealthy of a relationship with your food, with your body image issues, that your binges are causing you to eat a handful of Clenbuterol or T3 or, God forbid, DNP, I think it's time for you to step back, seriously consider getting professional help, and step away from bodybuilding completely. I think when you reach that point, bodybuilding itself, a bodybuilding lifestyle, has now become a danger to your health, both physical and emotional, and to your life at that point. And you really do need to step back. And not saying don't work out. I'm not saying don't try to eat just healthy foods, but that's the point to where you need to stop tracking your macros, have a very loose idea, not even an exact count of the calories you eat every day, and just go in and train hard. And you need to let go of that lifestyle. You need to push yourself away from that lifestyle. You need to push yourself away from bodybuilding forums. You need to push yourself away from magazines, looking at the ads, the advertisements. You need to distance yourself from other people involved in that lifestyle and the online community that pushes that, and step back and train just for yourself and walk away from that lifestyle for a while, because it's going to hurt you. And it's no longer healthy at that point. And I'm not talking about competitive. That's a different situation. I'm talking about these casual lifters like this. If you're at that point, then it's time to step back from that lifestyle for a little bit and reassess things. Because those unrealistic expectations and the unrealistic standards that are pushed by that community here on the internet is feeding into your mental illness at that point. So it's time to step back. Alright guys, and I'm going to link that playlist down below. This video will be part of the playlist, so check it out, and I'm going to add to it over time. And that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys an unesthetic fat bicep shot before I go.